I mean, yeah, I feel like this could be a turning point in Ahab's discography overall. Like, this just hits differently in a great way. So everyone's been talking about the brand new Ahab, and I've heard all about it. I just haven't had a chance to react until now. They've got a brand new album out called The Coral Tombs, the single of which is Mobilis in Mobili, an over 8-minute long song, and that's the song that I'll be checking out today. Very excited. Afterward, of course, you'll get a lyrical breakdown, thoughts on the music, you know how it goes. But first, let's experience some doom metal. Before I do, the usual, if you're new, hit subscribe, like this video, leave a comment down below, let's start a conversation. Check out my socials by clicking the Linktree link down below in the description. Also in the description, you'll find a link to my Patreon page. Go there and get access to exclusive bonus content, or join Tier 4 on there, which lets you make a song request and guarantee a reaction to it right away. You know you want to get in on those awesome perks. Alright, there's no time to waste with the long-winded intro. I'm hoping this is going to be the usual journey that comes with Ahab. I hope that they haven't changed one bit, that they're still as great as ever. So, let's see how it is. Let's get started. Oh, sounds like we're underwater. Why do I already really like this? Why am I already so excited? I like that it's taking its time. That's what I was hoping for. A slow build-up. Very unique pairing there with the atmosphere and the guitar. Nice contrast. Okay, I feel like there's going to be a massive payoff in another minute. Like, I like the slow build. You know, years ago, I used to not have the patience for it, but since becoming such a doom metal fan and going on so many doom metal journeys on this channel, I've really developed a liking for it, to where now I think I prefer this type of approach. The slow burn, the song that really gets you absorbed in it and lets itself play out before it gets heavier and more fast-paced, or before it pays off the sense of anticipation that the listener has. It has to be well earned, and with Ahab, it always is. So, really promising start right from the jump. Also, just very quickly, I want to comment on the album artwork. It looks really awesome. I'm definitely using that as the cover photo, the thumbnail image, I mean. It looks very futuristic. Very cool. I really appreciate artwork, so I just had to comment on that. It looks almost, I don't know, strangely Lovecraftian in a way. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, let's get back to the music. And the percussion kicks in. Alright, there's the heaviness. Oh shit, this sounds kind of black metal-ish. Yeah, this feels very blackened death metal so far. That drumming is reverberating through my bones. Okay, the guitar alone is working wonders for the epic nature of the song. Just the savage kind of booming sound that it has. You know, I think it's inevitable that there are aesthetic comparisons and thematic comparisons between Ahab and Gojira, even though they're entirely different musically. But for the first time ever, I'm going to compare this song to a Gojira song. The song Backbone by Gojira also does a great job at providing a very heavy, very booming kind of epic sound just with the guitar alone. And that's very much what this song is doing for me so far. I'm not saying that they're in any other way similar. They're completely different bands. I get it. I'm just saying that one little aspect is a similarity for me so far. And it's really cool, man. I like this so much already. Ahab cannot make a bad song. They just can't. Let's get back to it. So good. The guitar is really pronounced in this song, to the song's benefit. This reminds me of like an Opeth kind of change-up. Like, makes me think of the song The Grand Conjuration. Very interesting. Chills. Chills have been achieved. Such dark vibes. I love it. Oh, the way that guitar creeps in. They're back and they're better than ever. I hate to interrupt it at this moment, but I gotta pause it sometimes. That's the nature of reactions. But this song it feels like it's going in a little bit of a different direction for me compared with some of their past songs that I've reacted to. And not in a way so much that I feel is completely divergent from their signature style. I don't think that at all. But I will say that this feels like it's leaning more in the direction of like atmospheric black metal mixed with like death metal attributes. And obviously, there's still a little doom feeling in this, especially with the very glacial, methodical pacing of it. But it feels like this particular song pulled in a slightly broader range of influences when it comes to metal subgenres than some of the other songs by Ahab that I've heard. And that's cool. I like that. To me, that's evolution. Genre fusion and genre intermingling, when done right, is musical evolution and improvement. So good. Let's get back to it. Oh, the little subtleties with the guitar. It's fantastic. These vocals. It gets better and better. Was not expecting that vocal change up. That was cool. It felt very like kind of like a medieval sounding chant, if that makes any sense. I mean, yeah, I feel like this could be a turning point in Ahab's discography overall. Like this just hits differently in a great way. Let's finish it up. Okay. I say once again, Ahab are back and they're better than ever. Now, I will say, I feel like that song could have gone on a minute or two longer and maybe gone on in an even different direction. Because there was so much change up for the duration of the song, except for the end part. I feel like it just stayed in the same general territory and could maybe have been a bit more musically explorative, like the rest of the song was. And look at me, wanting less abrupt endings and maybe possibly fade outs or things that are things that have more of like a climax that eases you out of it rather than just ends abruptly. And that was a criticism that I had for another song that I reacted to a few days ago. So look how doom metal is changing me, man. But regardless of that, the ending was still fine. That's just a little critique. Aside from that one, I have no other criticisms that I can think of for this song. In fact, it was among the better Ahab songs that I've heard. And considering this is one of their newest releases, it is their newest release, that's saying something. Like, that speaks volumes about how they're growing as a band. And when was their last album before this? Because I think it's been a while. I think I was even wondering at one point if they were still together as a band. Yeah, their album before this one, The Boats of the Glen Carrig, that came out in 2015. So it's been a crazy long time. And clearly these guys have not been sitting around idly. They've been working very hard and very passionately on new material, and it's really, really paid off. The talent is on display as ever, as strongly as ever. The vocals, in terms of the harshes, you had more or less what I was expecting when it comes to this band. They never disappoint in that regard. The quality is always there, pretty much on the same level. But of course, when the cleans kicked in, again, I was surprised by that. And it just felt it almost felt like something you would hear in a Viking metal song. Like, it just had that kind of feeling to it. And I like that. It was, again, another little piece of variety that was inserted into a song that was in and of itself already defined by variation. Variation in sound and stylistic influence, variation in genre influence in particular. Again, I thoroughly believe that this had a definitive black metal vibe at certain points of the song. And I stand by that. I really, really like that. It almost felt like at certain points in the song, the guitar was almost doing like a slowed down form of tremolo picking. And maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. This is just the vibe that I'm getting, of course. I'm not a musician. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But the guitar was doing a lot of different things, all of them excellent. At certain points, it felt a little bit bluesy. At other points, again, it felt almost like black metal-ish. And then at other points, there were like very heavy, hooky moments. You don't automatically think of a guitar lending a sense of like a sense of pounding heaviness to a song in the same way that the drumming would. But somehow it just did that for the song. And the drumming, of course, played its role very well. It was as great as ever. Yeah, instrumentally, everything was on point. Isn't that always the case for this band? Like, I wish I could go on and on about the music, but pretty much everything that the band always excels at, they were excelling at in this particular song. And with the added bonus that they seem to be dabbling a little bit in other genres to a certain degree. And I know that Funeral Doom Metal already has kind of a mixture going for it. It's more than just straightforward doom. It already has a little bit of a darker, perhaps blackened kind of sensibility to it. But in this song, compared to previous Ahab songs that I've checked out, it felt stronger and much more prevalent, and perhaps even much more purposeful. Unless that was just something I picked up on that the band had not intentionally done. But it was just a happy accident by the nature of the music itself and by the nature of the necessary dark tone that the song needed. So there are a lot of broad intermingling of metal subgenres here. This didn't feel like a straight-up doom track, and that's not a bad thing by any means. But I'm really impressed. Yes, that's always the case when it comes to me and Ahab, but I'm even more so impressed that this is their newest album, and they're still not only on point musically, not only are they still riveting and keeping me on the edge of my seat and, like I said, giving me chills, which I don't often get from music. Not only that, but they're actually improving and they're upping their game and they're broadening their range of influence, in my opinion. And I think that's great. I think that's one hell of a way to not only mature, but become even more complex musically. So that's pretty much what I think about the music. I definitely got to hear more from this particular album. There are 7 tracks in total, and this is track 3. So let me know if there's a specific track that you guys want me to react to on this record. Put it in the comments below, or what I would recommend, once again, Tier 4 on Patreon. That lets you make the request, make sure it happens right away. Alright, now let's get to the lyrics. By the way, the song title, I believe it means motion within motion, something along those lines. Mobilis in mobili. We'll see how that relates to the song. This earth does not need new continents. New men is what it needs. These tyrants' failures, imminent. Where others have failed, I will succeed. Live in the heart of the sea. To tyrants the depths don't belong. Killing for killing's sake, superiors. Earthly honors be gone. These men and maids are the oppressed. Behold all that I condemn. Oppression comes in many shades. I am the judge, I am the law, and there is the oppressor. Free them, drudges, venge their flaws. I swear I'll grant them no confessor. On a main vessel we shall gnaw. Unleash my deepest inner, mobilis in mobili. No mercy for them sinners. You gotta hand it to these guys, the words that they use. You don't often hear the word immane. Basically, it means like a monstrous, like a behemoth, something very big. So a really big ship, I'm guessing. These guys are literary writers in and of themselves. And I think that I may have asked this before and maybe got this question answered already, but which of the band members writes the lyrics? If you guys know, let me know. So I actually think this is maybe the first socially aware song that Ahab has done. Or a better way to put it, this is the first song where they've made some social commentary in the lyrics. And that's very fitting for a sea-themed band. Although Gojira beat them to it by a decade or two. But all the same, the sea in modern times is a hotbed for pollution and destruction. One of the first things that I ever covered for my job was the aftermath of the Deepwater Horizon oil spill and the effect that it had on the bayou communities in Louisiana. Just whole businesses ruined because their shrimp and oysters were polluted with oil. Whole livelihoods upended completely. There was this really good restaurant. I'm getting a little bit off base here, off topic, but there was this great restaurant, Today's Catch, it was called. And probably they had like one of the best catfish po' boys I've ever had. But a lot of the food that they had on their menu was just kind of stricken by the effects of the oil spill. And certain things were just so polluted that they couldn't harvest them, let alone put them on their menu and serve them to customers, Again, like there was an oyster farmer that I talked to, and he was showing me like these oysters just filled with oil, and it was really messed up. Again, these are like family-owned businesses that have been around forever, and some of them had to shut down, and it was an absolute train wreck. It really was. So that's just my personal experience with the matter, and how this issue first came to my attention, really. And I don't think that it's about people having a certain stewardship over the sea. I don't think that's the issue. I think it's about when it gets taken to extremes, like overhunting of endangered sea life, oil spills, things like that. And more than that, it's about who is responsible and what their reasons are. Greed, obviously, being one of them, the primary motivator. And that's what I think that this first verse alludes to right off the bat. It says, "This earth does not need new continents. New men is what it needs." So I think that's saying that it's not on the planet to change. It's on us to change. It's up to a new generation of people to treat the earth better than the generations that came before. And I agree with that. Live in the heart of the sea. To tyrants the depths don't belong. Killing for killing's sake. Yeah, look, fishing and whaling used to be the bedrock of survival for people, and it was to feed themselves, and it was done in a fair and balanced way. Ever since the industrial age, that started to change. So now we're not using these natural resources in a moderate way. We're devouring it all up, and we're losing so much as a result. But because there's this disconnect between man and nature now, we often don't see what's lost, or we just don't care. And I genuinely think that ancient people were much more in tune with nature and the sea. They had a greater sense for the scope and the magnitude of it all, of its life and what that life meant for the well-being of the world. And I think that modern society has lost that. It's like the more that we advance technologically, I think the more degrees of separation that we put between ourselves and nature. And so instead of having compassion and empathy, we tend to scoff at the idea that we shouldn't consume as many resources as we possibly can. And anyone who thinks differently is pretty much a tree-hugging nutcase or a fool. And that's sad, man. I was raised to have a deep respect and appreciation for the natural world, and we're losing it bit by bit. And I think the song goes on to express the wrath of the earth and the sea when it says, "I am the judge, I am the law, and there is the oppressor." And later, also, "On a main vessel we shall gnaw." So I think this isn't so much about a monstrous whale attacking a ship, like songs that Ahab have done before. This is more the sea itself attacking mankind. And it's a powerful way to put it, because we really are very small in comparison with the power of the sea. As anyone involved in a shipwreck or anyone who gets stranded at sea can attest, it's much bigger than us, and we're only temporary residents on this earth. The ocean is permanent, and the tides are going to ebb and flow through the ages, whether in the midst of destruction or not. But we'll come and go, and the sea itself won't. And to be fair, I'm not one of the people who thinks that nature is specifically raining down some kind of vengeance on humanity. I think there's a sort of neo-pagan idea that this is happening. Like some people think that, kind of like what Christians think when they say that God is punishing people when natural disasters happen. I personally don't buy it. I just think that nature is ferocious and powerful, and Sometimes it causes awful shit to happen. But do I think that sometimes we exacerbate those conditions because of the things that we do? Definitely. Look, actions have consequences, and anything that you do in the world has an effect not only on the people, but on the environment itself. I mean, and you can look at any portion of history to teach us that. That's the crazy thing. It's like, I think really, at the end of the day, we're punishing ourselves because we have such an immense resource-enriched world. No matter what the fear-mongering news articles say to the contrary. But the way that we're going about a lot of things like resource consumption or things like the distribution of goods, I think much of the imbalance and destruction that's happening is due to this. And I don't exactly know what the solution is. But I know that with all the ingenuity that we're capable of, there has to be one. But greed has to be set aside, and sharper minds have to prevail if that's ever going to happen. And again, I circle back to this opening verse. This earth does not need new continents, new men, or what it needs. So yeah, it's a powerful song in terms of the writing. On one hand, I guess it was kind of unexpected for Ahab to tackle this kind of issue. But on the other, I think that it was only a matter of time, given the themes that they work with. And they've tackled literary and historical aspects to this for a while now. So it was probably about time that they did a song that dealt with something modern. So it was well done. The writing is always on point when it comes to these guys. Again, they have a literary sensibility, and there's a poetic kind of structure to the writing, and it really works, and it really resonates every time I break it down. So it was just as good as the music, and the music was quite fantastic, in my opinion. Can't wait to hear more. And that is it for this video. Gonna end it here. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. If you are new, please subscribe. Join the Nuclear family. It's totally worth your time. Check out my Patreon in the description. That's it. And I will catch you guys very soon with much more new content. See you later.